Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Kyle Lowry. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, are you?
I am the producer. My name is Matt Duncan. Hi, everyone. How you doing today? We've got another hot episode, 188th I've produced so far. Lots of fun. Freddie, how are you doing? And to follow that up, just want to let you know that there has been a conditional offer on Kyle Lowry's house. And what is that condition, Freddie?
Ooh, that he stays?
That's the condition? We'll buy your house, but
I'll buy your house. You
cannot...
just got to stay in TO.
Yeah.
No, what's the condition?
We don't know, but there's a condition. There's a condition.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a dump truck of like Head and Shoulders conditioner?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's that. I would think it would be something, relating to his property. A condition that the wiring is not copper or something. I don't know.
Okay. I go straight to basketball, like don't take a charge on Joel Embiid type stuff.
My condition would be that he has to stay living there with me and my family. And we just kind of have, a fun sitcom life there.
No, that's good. I think some like there's some bully offers in Toronto where I think people they buy the house and they move right in with the fam. I think that's how it works now with the housing market here. Yeah. But we're getting by. We're hanging in. I think right off the top, let me drop some kind of like contextual breaking news. For this pod. We talk about the All-Star break and the Raptors season as if we were gonna go right into the All-Star break because of the COVID protocols. Right. But it does seem like the Pistons game is very much on. Wow. Fred VanVleet, McCaw, OG,
oh my God,
Pascal, and I believe one other player. Who'd I say? McCaw and there's one other guy that's missing it. Flynn, Malachi Flynn is the other person who will be out due to COVID protocol. We'll obviously, keep you up to date with that. So
Baines and Thomas are going to play 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got Kyle in there,
Oh my God.
I'm sure Boucher is going to go off. It will be a very, very interesting game in Detroit for sure.
I mean, it is Detroit, so that is, a positive at least to play.
Bit of a consolation,
but
geez. just a kind of a quick medium take. Maybe this shouldn't happen, and maybe they need to slow things down just a little bit. But let's jump into some good feel pod stuff that people need to know. So Matt, if people want to support us, follow us, wear a cool anti-itch toque,
right?
How do they do all those things?
Well, if you kids are on the Instagram and the Twitter, we've got our Linktree link there for everything. So if you do want to support us on Patreon, there's a link for that. If you do want to buy a toque, there's a bloody link for that too. If you want to check out our website, there's a link for that too. And then for all our podcatchers and stuff like that, there's a huge list. I think it sends you to another thing called Podkite. And then, there's like 15 different podcatchers that you can choose. You can subscribe. And then, you get the episode as soon as it hits. You don't have to go looking for it or snooping around. We deliver it to you. That's the great thing about subscriptions, if you want to know what that is. But yeah, please, if you can support us, that would be great. We know, times are tough, no pressure, but we are, Freddie and I were talking, and we are going to start doing a lot more bonus content that is in our to-do list. So, we're going to try and do one per month, and it'll go on Patreon first for a bit. And then, we'll release it to the general public as well, as we start building our Patreon up a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, thanks so much, Matt. And I think I'll also add on there. Me and Matt have some pretty cool ideas for this additional content. But
Mhm.
if you have any ideas, feel free to email us, tweet us, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think. Wait, is there something else I wanted to add on there? I don't think so. Just let us know. Oh, you know what? I was gonna say, just thank you for everyone who's been recently, sharing this
Yeah.
pod and getting the word out, and kind of helping us. However you've been doing it, we're feeling it, and we're definitely
Yeah.
appreciating it. So thanks.
We've been getting a lot of positive feedback, which is really nice. And we've been doing this for over 6 years now, so it's brought a lot of joy to us. And we've seen a lot. We've talked a lot of Raptors, and boy, as I've said before, it's Confederacy Dunks is quite the time capsule for the Toronto Raptors.
You're dang right. And I think before we jump into Raptor stuff, I think I just want to touch on we brought up in the intro last week that of course was that Masai was still owed an apology for Adam Silver in regards to the assault after the assault on Masai.
And then right after we recorded, he got the apology.
That's right.
Herself.
And so I just thought, for kind of like, so everyone knows what's up, I'll read the first statement Adam Silver said, and then I'm also going to read Adam Silver's apology. Then Matt, we can, quickly reflect.
Right.
Okay. So first things first, what he did say after this happened. So you can imagine the state, Masai is in, and not exactly sure what Adam Silver was trying to do here. I think he was trying to maybe kill the situation, which is, a part of white supremacy and the racist culture. So here we go. When asked about what happened to Masai, he said, it's part and parcel of what comes with someone who is living on the edge a bit and is hardwired to sort of march forward with incredible energy. Lessons learned for him without assigning culpability or blame to anyone as a leader. Those are the kinds of situations he needs to learn to avoid. So, I mean, just flat out victim blaming, a horrible statement from Adam Silver. And this is why, I think we got to keep the pressure on. I say, we as in the royal we, this is a zeitgeist thing. So, you can't let these things slide, right? So here's his apology statement reported by Michael Grange. When I watched that last bit of the interview, in light of what we now know, I would love to take those words back. Silver told Sportsnet during a recent phone interview. Masai and I, at this point, have probably talked about that night 100 times since then. He has my full and unequivocal support. But I apologize to Masai for what I said in that interview. Believe me, when I look at that now, I cringe when I watch it. So I'll say this. I do appreciate that in the statement there does seem to be some reflection. I do also appreciate the use of the word cringe because I feel like it does highlight just how wrong he was and just how kind of like icky and painful that was. Where I feel like more work needs to be done is this part of the statement where he says, I've talked with Masai 100 times about that night, and he has my full and unequivocal support. So I guess I'd believe that a little bit more if there wasn't an apology after the charges were dropped more than a year later. So, get out in front of these things. Don't wait until you're embarrassed to apologize. That is my main thing. Apologies are good, though, so I do appreciate that. I hope I didn't take everything away from you, Matt, but
no, yeah, like I think I agree with your sentiments exactly. I just think that he should have got out in front of this a little bit more in support of Masai instead of it, playing that same old violin. You know what I mean? It's just an apology is great, but really, there shouldn't have been a place where he needed to apologize, right? If he did the right thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and like I think Masai was left out there hanging for such a long time, like
He really was.
unrepresented, and just kind of like
Yeah.
they let this officer mount his I would say just utterly pathetic and racist charges against Masai, and they should have spoke out against it. And that's just straight up what should have happened, and they should still go further to speak against what happened. They should run that action further.
Like, and I don't know how long like Messiah's had that footage, like from the
Probably had it for a long time, man.
Right? Like, so like doing all these things, he just kind of like, huh, okay. And during these 100 nights, was he like, I've got footage of this, right? Like, I've got footage of this guy like assaulting me for no reason, like just like I just don't understand how. I mean, I do understand, obviously, it's just the way this has always gone, but I don't know, man. Masai's he's just one of the greats, man. He's just like, just even how he handled it is just wow.
Yeah. So he's so special. Yeah. Well, I think on Messiah's wonderful note, let's get this pod rolling, and let me say, email your city councilors, Black Lives Matter, and defund the police. Let's keep on the pressure. Maddie D, if you feel like we're good to go and we're good to get this pod rolling, please, sir, just give me those sweet, sweet words. Okay. Okay, let's bring on the guests. Let's bring on guest number one. He's a very hilarious dude. He's good at stand-up, improv, sketch, writing. He's a good athlete, so he's told me. Maybe not. We agree on a lot, but sometimes we disagree. We'll find out what we agree or disagree on. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Yaw Attuah. Wait, is this new?
This is new. It's the same vibe, but it's new.
It is like beach. Okay.
It's always beach. Also, the description you gave to me also applies to your other host, because the other guests. I was like, what's gonna be on? And it's like we're both great athletes. It's like, this is a toss up.
I felt that as I was reading the intro, and I'm like, oh man, I can go I can slip the screen here and pick in either direction. People don't know where I'm going. I don't even know where I'm going.
I didn't know. I mean, your other guest, also a great athlete, also is hilarious. It was like the stand up was like, maybe that's it.
But he's the type of person who's like, he probably just doesn't want to do stand up. He could rock it.
You would absolutely, no doubt, would kill in stand up if they decided to.
I do believe he'd kill in whatever he tried. And without further ado, let's bring him on. Since we're talking athletics, this gentleman shoots his three exactly like Chris Boucher. In that also, it goes in about 47% of the time. It's kind of like a trick shot, but it really isn't, I guess, because it works all the time. He's an amazing improviser, producer, hilarious person. I guess he'll let us know if he does stand up or if I'm insulting him by this very intro. Please give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Matt McCready.
Oh, yeah, everybody. I am a stand-up professional. You can see me Monday to Friday, opening for John Mulaney across the country. He is out of rehab and ready to go. With me, an improviser, doing the stand-up opening up for him. Hey, Freddie. Hey, how's everyone doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I love your energy. It was chaotic. Thank you.
Thanks. It's all downhill from here.
I think you're probably right, but I think it's going to be maybe a fun downhill, like an alpine.
It'll be like ski free. A Yeti will be chasing us the entire time, and we'll have to dodge him. Sorry,
it's like skiing or rolling down a hill. It's downhill, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh
exactly.
I haven't rolled down a hill in a long time.
And
Maybe I'll
every
do
time
it.
I watch, videos of people tubing down the hill in snow, they never really get airborne. There's not any accidents or anything like that. It's usually pretty just comfy tube trip down the snow hill. And this analogy has just went nowhere. So let's get popping and just jump into some Raptors stuff.
Can't wait.
Me either. Matty D, please, good sir, give me your most delicious Raptors sting.
Yeah.
Meow.
Was that MODOK telling us all to assemble? That was a cool sound.
Duncan, can you chime in here?
Yeah, that I can't confirm that it was MODOK.
Who's
There was a
MODOK?
Brontosaurus
MODOK's
whale.
like a giant face villain in Marvel.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's not great. He's a very D-list Marvel character, and I think
How dare you? MODOK show's coming out, and it's Patton Oswalt who's voicing MODOK, and it looks tremendous.
yeah, be on the train for MODOK because it's going to be a big hit this year. Everyone's going to be talking MODOK by June.
Ooh, MODOK. Okay. Well, Matt, since we're talking about your stings, can I just ask, did Yaw have different music?
Yes, he did.
Have we run into copyright? finally?
Listen. Now, I do have for the one that he usually has, I have a copyright Creative Commons license for it, but it keeps getting flagged by YouTube. And now that our YouTube's starting to get a little bit of a boost, I don't want to screw around with it. So I did have to get some different music. Staying with the summer beach vibe. I felt like, still had that. But yeah, just trying to clean up the YouTube flagging.
Hey, I hear you. The last thing I want is to be, viciously attacked by YouTube fans or, I don't know how they rectify the copyright stuff, but
No, I need you to get those YouTube ducats, yo. Get that.
exactly. Well, this is for all of us. But yeah, let's jump to you first, and kind of just talk about where we're at right now with the Raptors, which is basically. There was some mystery around Kyle Lowry at the beginning of the year in regards to COVID, but because of privacy laws and the way that works, we don't get to know who has had COVID and when, for good reason. But it seems clear that however they've dodged, whatever they've dodged, that's over now. So it started with kind of this weird story of the coaching staff and, Sergio Scoriolo, coming back from Spain, so he was able to kind of circumvent, the quarantining and that sort of thing. But then it seemed like, did it do anything? Because, or maybe it's the COVID latency thing. And, we don't have to go into how the virus develops and that kind of stuff. Obviously, everyone please listen to epidemiologists in regards to that. By the way, if you're looking for a good podcast, TWIV is a very good one. It's called This Week in Virology. It's all professors talking about it. But
Cool. Good reco.
It's fantastic. But yeah, how are you feeling about our team? The Raptors, I guess, COVID has finally come our way. We've now had 2 games postponed. The Pistons game was just postponed. I assume the last one before All-Star break will also be postponed. Yeah, how are you feeling?
To be honest, I'm not feeling great about it. This pandemic and COVID, it's costing people quite a bit, not just in games played, but the way people live and family members. No one has had a worse year than Cat. I know Cat's not a Raptor, but I'll mention Cat. And it's just tough because for us, even though the Raptors are not playing in the city, and even it gives us a moment to kind of pretend nothing's going on when their games are on. And this is just kind of a stark reminder that there's a lot going on and life is completely changed. And it's just this hard reality. And you just want the team to be okay. You want, it's a lot of these guys' livelihoods are on stake to just, entertain us. I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's really what it's all about. And they're trying to make money for their families, and I get that, and I understand, like, canceling the season wasn't exactly on the table, but yeah, it's just tough to kind of, like, when it happens to your team, it's just like, oh, that hits a little close to home. It's another dose of reality when, if it doesn't happen to your team, you're kind of still suspended in that, like, air of, like, this, like, you know, you're in this bubble of, like, escapism. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean that's hitting with me super hard. It's kind of like, you know, during COVID we all have different flavors of escapism, and yes, we get that it is this kind of like overarching thing that is penetrating every aspect of society, and there is no avoiding COVID. But also, as people, we kind of look for distraction and hope as means to survive. And, you know, this, yeah, like that's what you're saying is just hitting with me hard too, because COVID and, you know, this pandemic, like, laugh in the face of anyone's particular escapism.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, cool. What are you doing to, you know, like, have some compassion in your life and enjoy, like, some moments? Well, I'll make sure to let you know that that's not unconnected from all the bad stuff. Yeah, Matt, how are you feeling about, or McCready, how are you feeling about COVID and the Raptors?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Gritty put out a tweet today celebrating that their fans back in the arena, you know? So you used to get, like, a thrill from Gritty. But even Gritty is this grim reminder of how capitalism is driving so much sickness in the United States, you know?
Gritty Reaper.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, like, how is capitalism even working? How is people sitting in the stands of a hockey game good for the economy, you know? Like, how weird is the world? So, I don't know. It's a reminder of the sadness of the universe, which isn't exactly what I go to for basketball. So I would give it a D-, maybe an F, in terms of how I feel about COVID and the Raptors in general.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I'm happy that they're in the States and they're not in Toronto infecting people. But at the same time, I'm also not happy that they're in the States helping spread community. I mean, they would have kept fans in the stands, Rogers and the Raptors, if the fans weren't vehemently cheering for any team but the Raptors every single game. I believe that they stopped having fans in there only because it was a competitive disadvantage for the team itself.
Yeah, and Matt Duncan's just putting up a little stat. This is the 35th postponed game for the NBA season. Obviously, it was built into the schedule a little bit, but that even is like a grim kind of like capitalistic like moment of honesty. You know what I mean? Like we maybe should have given that even a second glance when the season started. It's like you're building in a break for sickness, kind of. Like
there's that, and they also like built the schedule that way. They released the first half of the schedule to know that like the first half may be affected, the second half may be affected by the first half with postponements and things having to be moved and stuff. And then they're gonna play the second half of the season that they like basically scheduled. Like last week they released that schedule, and I think it's just kind of this like weird reminder that they're aware that things like this could happen and are going on, and they're just pushing forward.
Pushing forward is like the key expression here, and it's like pushing forward in a time when perhaps pushing forward is the only thing you shouldn't do.
That was a big strategy in World War I to break through the trenches. You just got to keep pushing people forward, and they cost themselves hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives on failed attempts to just keep pushing forward. Then, obviously, the death toll from COVID isn't as extravagant as World War I, but it does seem to be the same mentality of, regardless of what evidence is in front of you, ignore that. Human perseverance will succeed in the face of overwhelming odds. And while that can be true historically, it seems like using our minds to determine when we should be doing the things we do seems like a better strategy.
Wow. Well said. like all I can say is absolutely well said. Like we have the muscle to push forward, which is useful at times, but we also have the brain to decide when and how to push and maybe pull and lift and deliberate. But
that's my opening joke on my stand-up as well. It's pretty bad. Doesn't get a lot of laughs, but
yeah, that seems like a bit of a crowd killer.
Format,
No. You know what? I think the best way to approach stand-up is like blame the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go out with that like a big stinker, something must be not right with the audience. And I think you go there first and then stay there.
Yeah, I shame the audience for the first 20 minutes of my stand-up on why they are there. And then I hit them hard with some home improvement jokes. Yeah, remember home improvement? That gets me going.
Good, yeah. No, it's like, and you know what? We're talking a little bit of comedy shop here, but I'll bust out some home improvement jokes too. And when things are not going well, like reference that Pamela Anderson was in the first couple seasons, stuff like that. Like fans.
I'm going to put a fence up till here on my screen coming up. Get ready for some prop jokes later on. Yeah.
I'm going to wisdom. How about that?
I'm ready for him. Yeah, let's go to you on this first one, and maybe this will be type of like a bouncy conversation because I don't know if we'll agree or how we're going to approach this, but I'm curious in your guys' selection as far as like who on this Raptors team is outperforming their current contracts the most, and I think this is a fun conversation because it highlights that just about everyone on the Raptors squad is outperforming their contract, save, a couple guys. But let's
first two are Baines and McCaw.
Okay, well, that's the pod. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
Go for it.
When we get an answer that's that good, we just got to wrap it up. JK, let's go to you first. Like, I don't know if you put it in order of like the best three. So, but give me one of your top three.
I think the one that's quite obvious is OG. I think OG is really outperforming his contract. I think he is coming into his own. He's becoming the player that people kind of marked him to be. He's very, very valuable. I love the fact that we were going to build around him in the future. And he's only getting paid just under $4 million. For this season. This season, he's outperforming. I would argue that he's even outperforming his extension.
I would argue that too, for sure. His extension is $16 million. And I mean, I'd say like he's playing like at minimum like a 18 or 19 or $20 million player right now when you consider, the all defensive stuff. Offense is always paid more in the league, but
I mean, I still, to my dying day last year, think he got a little robbed from the all-defensive team. I think some people, sorry, I was going to cough there. Pat Beverly are grossly overrated defenders who play in big markets and tout how loud that they can play defense. So I think the most obvious player so far, one of the three that I had to go through, is definitely OG.
Definitely OG. I'm going to say a quick thing, and then Matt, I'm going to go to you next. But I think, I just want to echo your point. It's, and I've been saying this on the pod a couple times now, but or recently, I think the reputational aspect in the NBA takes a little while to catch up, and I think that's why you see like the idea that Rondo was still good on defense like years after he was bad, or the idea that a guy like Marcus Smart is going to be like thrown around as a defensive player of the year, even if he plays a position that like really, like a guard position, like you really shouldn't be in the mix for, as far as like the potential impact you have.
I mean, that whole city of Boston is living so hard on basically their media reputation being put out there. The fact that they got 2 All-Stars in the game, when teams ahead only got 1, speaks volumes. I mean, I don't think they deserve 2. I think Jaylen Brown was a very obvious choice. I mean, people who listen to this podcast weekly would have heard my Quickish question last week because I don't think Tatum deserved an All-Star spot this year. He's starting to play well now, but that's not generally how that goes. When you select an All-Star, it's who's playing well up to that point. But like when it comes to reputation, like the Raptors are slow to get a reputation into like the market, and everybody else, like in LA, Boston, New York, you do like two things great, or you have a good week, and suddenly you're branded that player. Where like Russ Westbrook was like, Pat Beverly's not a good defender, and I'll show you why. And then he drops like a 40-point triple-double, and he's like, this is your all defender? So, and who does it like his most efficient games where he gets Patrick Beverly.
Yeah, no, it's like, and I think it's a good point because Pascal, Fred, and OG are all deserving of more defensive praise than they get league-wide. But Matt, let's go to you. I guess first let me know, is OG in your top three?
Oh, I mean, I actually didn't put like rookie contracts in mine because
that's
historically rookies
kind of fair.
you know, they're always not always good deals, but if they're good deals. You know, it's just kind of written into the CBA that way.
That's a good point.
So I did have him on my like honorable mention. I did say that he's the contract on the team that I think is the best value long term. I think that Pascal is still the better player, but I think, you know, just the fact that he makes almost twice as much is a mitigating factor on that. So for my number one, I have not only the best defensive center on the Raptors this year, but the best defensive center on the Raptors the last 3 years. Chris Boucher, number one on my list.
That's a absolutely wonderful pick. So, I mean, I think it's a really smart.
6.8 million, I believe, or maybe less than that, 6.4, I believe, with a team option for next year.
Yeah, 6.4. And I wonder if we picked up the team option because it's no longer green or blue on.
I believe they have until after the season to pick it up, and teams will very rarely proactively do that beforehand before they have to. You never know if he'll have a devastating injury and be out of the league, you know?
Yeah, totally. But yeah, it's 6.4 and 7. And yeah, him and OG were both on my list. And there's one more guy, but I mean, Boucher, it's like he had that mini, whatever, 2-week period where it's like, okay, maybe the league figured him out. But then he's bounced right back from that. He's causing people all sorts of trouble. He can start. He's proven he can kind of play small ball, especially with OG and Pascal. Because, you know, he can play on the wing sort of thing. He can play with Baines too.
He's a power forward, you know.
He's a power forward, totally.
Yeah, like there are matchups you can play him at center. If the other team doesn't have a center that's going to go down the block, then for sure put him at center. But I mean, he's versatile. He's not a playmaker in terms of creating for other people. But the Raptors have so many guys who are play creators. You know, they don't have a lot of finishers. And Boucher is a great finisher, both from beyond the arc and at the rim. He's a great finisher, even through contact, even though he weighs 190 pounds. Love him. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I don't have too much more to say about him unless you want to go to the next people on the list.
Yeah, I was just gonna go to my third person and kind of see if we have the same people. But I'll add with Boucher that, you know, he's our only rim roller. I know we just got that guy from the G League who can dunk on everybody, it seems.
Yeah, I love Donta Hall.
Yeah, he looks awesome. But yeah, Boucher is like, if he didn't roll to the rim, I do believe no one would. Because I just don't think, and no one, maybe Bembry, but like no one on the team.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe Bembry.
No one on the team really does that. Like they don't really have that in their game. Like Pascal could, but I think, you know, yeah, we focused so much on him being like a playmaker and the play starting with him that just, you know, we don't really treat him as a roller. But okay, my third person on this list. So it was kind of a tight debate. I had OG number one, Boucher number two, and then for me it was between Fred and Powell. And part of me was like, you know, well, Fred's better than Powell. Fred's near all-star level, and you know he's outperforming his contract. Like, but Fred's contract's 21 mil, and you know I put him at like per the NBA, like playing at like maybe I don't know, like 28 mil value, something like that. Like he's outperforming his contract, which is massive. But Norm Powell's making $10 million a year, and like I get that he's not the level of Fred, but just this, like what he's given us, it's like he's so much better than just a starter. And the fact that like under that contract, he's played his way into basically forcing his coach's hand and being like, you can't not play me. That's how good I am. And, for whatever reason, Nurse and Casey before him have been super reluctant to play Norm in the starting lineup. And all he's ever done is shown up for the Raptors when they most need it. Anyways, yeah. So that's my Norm pitch. I don't know if it's Norm for you guys.
Norm was number 2.
Okay, so wait, he's on. So you had OG Norm, and did you have Boucher too or no? Yeah,
I didn't. I was going to kind of. I have a wild answer for my third one.
Okay, hit me with it.
Kyle. I think Kyle is my wild answer. Listen, I know it's $30 million. I know he's not as good in his following years, but think about the value he's already brought to the team, and think about the long-term effects he has for being on the team now versus the future. Like without Kyle, there isn't steady Freddie who may turn into franchise Freddie. And that contract is like, it's just enough. Like, I don't believe we'll trade him. I think he's going to come back and get paid about the same as Fred. That's my prediction, at least. Get like 2 or 3 more seasons at like
I think it's a pretty accurate prediction.
At like 60 mil. But like he brings so many. Winning culture is like a big deal, right? To get past the belief you can do it is invaluable. It's why LeBron James is always underpaid, in my opinion. I always think he is grossly underpaid because he brings the possibility that you can win, and there's very few players in the league that can do that, depending on their circumstance. So LeBron does it. I think Kyle does it. I think Jimmy Butler does it. Who makes you believe when they're on the team, they're going to perform and set an example, and that you guys can do it and you can be in it, even at points of the league. So now, like, they had a terrible start. They're half a game out of the 4th spot. I know it's the East, but I don't think the East-West divide is as big once you get to the top 4 teams of each conference. I think you put the Raptors in a 7-game series in any game with anybody but the Lakers, they'll find a way to win in 6. I think the Lakers are just
spicy, and I love it.
I think the Lakers are just like, they're just too, like, you can't bet against LeBron. They're just too much. Yeah, I think it's 30 mil. It'll be down next year. But I think at 30 mil, having that around and knowing you have that around and knowing that team, no matter how they start, they're just going to finish strong and get in the playoffs, I think that's valuable. That was my legit third answer.
Yeah, I think, Kyle Lowry's such a kind of like this lightning rod of emotion this year, I think, for a lot of reasons. But I agree with you. I think that institutional knowledge, I not agree with you to the point of like having him on my list, but I feel like the instinct will, be to look at that 30 mil and be like, but there's no all-star production. And I think, it's harder to look in the margins and the charges and, how much do you pay a player who was, people genuinely wanted to coach the team when his coaches were out. Like that wouldn't happen for a lot of teams. It wouldn't be like if Boston's, players went down, they'd be like, Tatum, you're coaching for sure. It wouldn't be like that. It would, wouldn't even be like Kemba, you're coaching.
I think Jaylen Brown might be interesting coaching the team. That guy's really smart.
You know what? Maybe Boston's a bad example because, even though I always slam on them, they do have a lot of good leaders. Because even when I was saying that, I was like, "Oh, Tyson."
You put Marcus Smart in a Napoleon costume, and you let him coach the team, and you got yourself a movie.
I don't believe Boston has the personalities to do it. I feel like if you just think about it this way, right? Why Kyle is in all these trade rumors. Because he legitimately will take a team over the hump. You put him on, most teams that need a point guard or a ball handler, they're going over the hump, which is, worth that 30 mil. So, like, if you take him off the Raptors and you put him on the Clippers, the Lakers, the 76ers, the Celtics, Miami, don't tell me, like, those teams are not, like, suddenly, like, ooh, big threat title favorites or, like, you're, like, shadow bet. Like, Vegas will move the numbers with him, and I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah, no, I think like that institutional knowledge is so super valuable. And Matt, let's we've been talking about Lowry for a bit here, but feel free to chime in and also tell us your player who's or you're the player we haven't talked about yet who deserves to be kind of praised for outperforming the contract.
Yeah, assuming OG's contract counts, and that's number one on my list. I have Boucher second. I had it between Fred VanVleet and Norm myself, and I kind of went with Fred VanVleet. Okay. Even though maybe on like $1 to dollar, maybe Norm's worth like 18, and maybe Fred's worth like 28. So there's not much of a difference between the two. Mm-hmm. I think the value of having a $28 million player so outweighs the value of having an $18 million player that I kind of just would put him ahead of Norm. It's pretty close. You can make an argument for both. As for Kyle, it's like I understand historically the amount of value that Kyle has had towards the franchise, but if you took Fred off the team this year, like we're screwed. Like there's no way like that Lowry can handle that load at this point at his age. You know, he missed a ton of games, and the Raptors were great while he was out. Obviously, he's still providing value off the bench as a mentor in that regard. So I can't disagree more, and I'm enraged. And now I'm fucking mad. I don't know.
Guys, you should see McCready right now.
Spiciest of spicy takes.
He smiled so hard when he started to swear.
Punched a hole through my stovetop hat. It was I mean I whatever. This is like a silly conversation kind of. I was like I think Kyle's very valuable at $30 million still. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I think that kind of highlights what I was going for with the question here. And let's jump to some NBA stuff. Maddie, I know you're there. Please, good sir, give me your most delicious tugboat sounding Adam Silver NBA sting.
National Basketball Association.
If anyone's watching the video, the reason my hand was in like a fist, I was ready to do like a honking motion because that's what the tugboat usually sounds like. I don't know. Was it there? Did I miss it?
No, there was no Adam Silver tugboat. He took the night off.
That's fair. You know what? Tugboats passing each other in the night. That's an analogy, right? Matt, McCready, let's stick with you for my next question here.
Great.
And you know what? I'm hoping this isn't. I'm hoping to get the bleakness out of the way for this question in an obvious like agreeance way, because I feel like I've listened to so many pods. I've heard so many people talk about this All-Star game shouldn't happen. They don't want it to happen, and honestly, I haven't heard much disagreement. I haven't heard a lot of people who are like, no, I want it. And I'll fight for it.
Who loves the All-Star game? Who's like, ooh, it's the best game of the year.
Ooh, right. Stephen A. Smith was like, All-Star game, that has to happen. I'm like,
okay. So Stephen A. Smith, cheers.
Sure.
But yeah, so with that aside, I think, we can largely agree that it's like not a lot of people are looking forward to it. But with that said, given this year, what is something you think how would it be the best version of what is going to happen in your opinion?
I really like the idea that the players were playing for charities, their own personal charities. I really like that idea. So I think you just jack that number up to a point where the players are kind of like, well, I kind of have to play like a maniac. If it's like each player's charity gets like, I don't know, $2 million or something, like how hard do you think you'd play it? In that regard. So maybe that's a way to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
I like the captain's thing. And I think something that might just kind of be fun is the last pick of the draft has to wear a Brown jersey during the game. think are like just something ridiculous, like any the worst alternate jersey maybe from their specific team. I think shaming someone at the All-Star game is just kind of fun.
Yeah, me too.
And also the captains can kind of whisper to each other and be like, "Yeah, let's pick Harden last," and make somebody do it and just cause a bunch of razzing.
I really hope they clown Harden again.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the Elam ending. I'm actually a weird guy who's like would love it if it came into effect in the NBA. Like I'd be up for starting it tomorrow. But I know that's like not historically very popular. I just think like whatever, the game can evolve. I guess that's all I really got. Maybe at one point, one quarter they could play 3-on-3. That might be fun.
I think you covered a lot of where I was coming from. In my answer.
Brown jersey is one of your top.
No, I didn't have. Sorry, that was funnier than anything I thought of. But the charity thing, like you worded it better because like I was kind of thinking like, how do they make? Well, I guess I was framing it as like, how do we take some of the energy in the, that was in the bubble, and like advocating for social justice and Black lives and kind of like in the face of this difficult time, speaking to people's hope. Like, how do we do that more? And I think that, there are, it was kind of like driven home for me in the bubble with, when Jimmy Butler is like, I don't want to wear a specific thing. Like, I don't want to pick through charities and put it on my jersey. Like, I want to be Jimmy Butler.
Sorry, Freddie. I had a really interesting idea.
Sure.
What if the players at the beginning of the year have to register as either Democrats and Republicans, and that's how you make the All-Star teams? So then the charities are vastly different, and you'd play harder for it because you wouldn't want the other charities to get it. If you're like a pro-choice guy and you're going up against these like weird religious charities that the Republican team is playing for. And obviously it'd be like the worst team. It'd be like Gordon Hayward and like 6 other awful guys. And it'd just be like 190-60 and everyone would just be high five. It'd just be great. Like, wouldn't you tune into something that awful?
I would only tune in if if it was like a stacked game, because like I could not live with it's like, oh, and the game's on the line and the winning 3 goes to conversion therapy.
Oh no. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that to me is not an option that's acceptable.
Right.
So I feel like if it's like, you can basically like, they can shoot the winning 3 and then like, 6-man style, like a ghost can blow it away. Like if it's like you or Flubber, I always want to say introduce Flubber. You know what I mean? Just for excitement and that sort of thing. But no, amping up the charities, I think that actually is a really good idea. Like a lot of these players are passionate. And what I was kind of saying with the jerseys in the bubble and Jimmy Butler, is like, a lot of people are, they kind of want to speak to different passions and kind of like causes in their lives. So making them be specific has a weird feel. And anyways, I'm just trying to accentuate what you're saying. And I think pumping up what the players care about and giving them high rewards, I think would make for better TV. Also, yes to the Elam ending and the brown jersey and the shame. Yeah. What about you? What's the best way to make the All-Star game like the best version of itself?
So first of all, I'm going to remind listeners that I was at the All-Star game last year. It was incredible. It was a fantastic atmosphere. With the new rule changes and the charities, the players got really, really competitive.
Yes, it was amazing.
The crowd was on their feet the entire fourth quarter. It was amazing. It was I hadn't seen that in a while. So
Kyle taking charges late game?
Taking charges late game, and Kyle just running that team. It was incredible. One of the things I thought this is the year to do it. Was I wouldn't have an All-Star break. I would have put it at the end of the season after the finals. I would have put it just a regular break and treat it kind of like the Pro Bowl. So you have the whole season because there's only 72 games. By then you're hoping the vaccine's out and you can actually have crowds at games, because that would be the only reason why players, even after a season, would go and play, because you finally have like an energetic crowd and you have like a real atmosphere. Plus, if it happens in the summer, like I just saw a tweet that Joe Biden says everyone's going to get vaccinated by May. I don't believe it, but like, if you had it by the summer and then everyone's like, you have a sizable amount of people vaccinated, you have like a real safe environment, and the players can just like go home afterwards, and everyone can isolate and not worry about playing more games this season. So that would have been the biggest change I had. I
love that idea, by the way, and I think with the schedule change, it's kind of
You still
possible.
could break in the middle because I think they just need it, but at the same time, like if you really wanted players to like kind of buy in, because even the players were like, why are we doing an all-star game? Like we're barely going to get through, and you want to throw this like exhibition? Like put it at the end of the season, have the same like stakes, and then you can kind of like that would have been the biggest change I would have made. I do like acknowledging that a player got picked last. I think that is.
I like that everybody loves that.
I do. I think one, you should acknowledge it, and the player who gets picked last gets to start like a second quarter or something.
I wanted him just to start the game. He has to do the tip off no matter who it is.
Like the last player, the last player
themselves.
needs to like start or needs like a prominent role like in the game. Like that's the only rule, because they kind of sub however they feel after the first quarter. And I think this if Sabonis is picked last, he needs to start the second quarter. You need to draw a play up for him. He's wearing the last player picked headband, like everyone knows it. Like I'm all for that public razzing, because at the end of the day, they're all stars. I want live player reactions as they get picked. I want them to talk about it. I want trash talk. So like James Harden getting picked last in the starting lineup, going, I passed the ball, guys. Like, I do pass. I've led the league in assists. Why am I getting picked last? Like I want that. I want him to be salty.
Yeah.
I
think even now they should just all be on Zoom or something as they're getting.
Everyone after you're picked, everyone should comment about being picked. I want Ben Simmons to be like, how come I was picked after Joel Embiid? Like, and everyone's gonna be like, well, he is starting and you are a reserve, and he's like, I don't care. I'm the best player on the team. Like I want all those reactions. I want people talking trash to each other. That's the thing I would change. I want the filters off.
These are some huge ideas. I've opened this up to producer Matty D, because I feel like he'll have some good entertainment ideas. And I'm trying to bump up my own idea a little bit more, but it's just trash compared to you. Like it's a classic. I didn't put enough effort into my own question, but Matty D, give me yours.
Okay. Well, I've never really been into all-star games at all in any sport. I got to say, like I check in sometimes, but you'll never catch me watching the whole game or the whole skills comp or whatever. But this is what would make me watch the whole thing.
Whoa.
Okay? Now, I want the all-stars that are there from this season to play against some of the legends. I want the other team to be Jordan and Iverson and
they'd be
Bargnani,
down.
and
It'd be easier to get Republicans if we did that too.
Republicans watch games too.
Yeah, Lambeer,
Like it's some sort of alumni game. I played an alumni game at my old high school.
Okay,
Yeah.
Matty D. That's all right.
I don't want to overthink it here, but I would love to see that type of alumni game, especially with this year too. I feel like it would excite everyone to see, like, has MJ taken a shot in 20 years? Find out.
I love that it's like he was probably in the NBA 20 years ago, but no. Okay. So my only idea was literally I just saw that preview for the new Mortal Kombat movie, and I'm like, it would be like to frame it like that and to like have them on, basically like an island type thing. But I realized the UFC already did that, and so the fact that it actually happened makes it less jokey. Anyways. Your guys' answers were so much better, so I just want to move on to my last question here.
I got one
Please
more.
say more.
One more.
Sorry. Please.
One more thing. And this one is less likely to happen than even the brown jersey or the Freddie's Island idea. But I think at halftime, each player should take a half-court shot. And if they hit it, Adam Silver gets into a dunk tank. And each subsequent player that hits a shot, the seat that he's on goes higher and higher, and more hot sauce is poured into the tub. And
Good.
God.
if everyone hits it by the end, he's like 30 feet in the air, and it's 50-50 water hot sauce.
Oh, that's really good. So it's basically he's falling, and it's pretty narrow. So it's like Olympic diving board optics, and he's falling into like probably not that much water. So he'll probably hurt his butt.
Hey, man, I don't want Adam Silver to die at this thing. But I think ridiculous humiliation is definitely on the table.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not against that.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it one bit. The way he looks, it would look funny covered in hot sauce. You look like a saucy French fry. But let's stick with you, McCready. Yeah, I was going to go to Yaw first, but actually, no, I'll save it for Yaw just because he mentioned the Lakers thing before, and I don't know where you're at. So for me, it's kind of based off this is kind of based off the Lakers almost. This question is, and that's because I kept saying all last year I felt like it was the year of many contenders. It was the NBA Jam year. The league didn't have a Warriors type of team that was a foregone conclusion, and I thought the Lakers were the best team. They did win, but also they were beatable and they weren't beaten. But I still kind of felt that this year and was a bit perplexed by everyone's like, oh man, they got Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder and Marc Gasol. Looks like they're undefeatable. And or like, that looks like you can't beat them. And I'm like, I guess I don't get that because I feel like they're still quite beatable. And the absence of Davis for me has really kind of solidified that. Because a team like the Jazz looks like they're gonna hold on to the first seed. So, but LeBron in the playoffs, I really don't think you ever should underestimate that. But just in general, I'm more so looking for tone, like not so much the playoffs, but yeah, like who do you think like is there a favorite? I guess is what I'm asking you, McCready.
Well, Freddie, as you know, there's no bigger Marc Gasol stan than I.
That's right.
He has been washed since 2015. No, I'm just joking. I'm not a huge fan of Gasol. I don't think the Lakers are as strong as they were last year. I know James has come out shooting like a maniac, but he's also a year older, and this season's going to be fucking rough on him. Like, this is like such a marathon season for someone his age. I hope that he obviously ramps it up for the playoffs. But I'm worried with Davis being out. That just puts even more pressure on him. And I'm worried that we might have a season like he had with the Lakers the first year he was there, and he just kind of ends up breaking down by the end of the year by having too much responsibility. Schroeder being out as well doesn't help. I don't think Schroeder's a great Schroeder's okay, but Harrell's, I don't believe, a good playoff player. I think that they kind of worked a little bit better with Howard, to be honest, and Gasol or Harrell. I think James is so good at setting up a center who can go up and dunk that I think like not having McGee and Gasol is one of the worst finishing centers in the league. At this point, he's shooting below 40% from the field. He's shooting 32% from three. Not great. He can't really move around very well. He doesn't roll to the rim. And if he does, it's usually a disaster. Lakers, I don't know. I think I might actually have the Clippers in front of the Lakers in terms of teams that I'm worried about this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that like George is playing out of his mind, and I know he's been kind of sloppy in the playoffs the last couple of years, and last year was pretty awful. But historically, he's been very good in the playoffs, and I don't think physically he's off as much as someone like a Gasol would be. And I think Kawhi still got a gear. I think Ibaka gives them a stretch option. I just think they have a decent amount of depth. And other than those two, Brooklyn is a team that can't really get stopped in any sort of way. I just wonder if they can pick up a couple pieces at the buyout market, if they can fill their holes. And then other than that, maybe Philly. Yeah. So but before I go to you, I'm just going to say, I think I'm kind of with McCready here. Like maybe not so much as like, but sorry, before I go to Yaw, McCready, is that like, is your answer kind of like
you don't know if there's necessarily a favorite, but it might be the Clippers. Is that fair?
Well, yes. And I think, like, obviously we have nothing like we had when we had Durant on the Warriors, where it was almost a foregone conclusion unless someone got injured, which is why the Raptors won the championship that year.
That's right.
Multiple injuries to some of the best players of all time. Yeah, I honestly think that a lot of it, boringest answer possible, will come down to health at the playoffs, because I feel like any of these teams catch lightning in the bottle, hot 3-point shooting, anyone can make it to the finals. That's why Miami got to the finals last year.
Exactly. And they were injured in the finals, so it made them a lot less competitive.
Totally.
I think health. I think you're exactly right with health, because short of Brooklyn, maybe no team has, or no, sorry, not maybe. Short of Brooklyn, no team has 3 superstars, so no team has that that threshold.
Tobias Harris makes $35 million. No,
fair enough. And yeah, we do have Lowry, Fred, and Pascal, so fair enough. But yeah. So yeah, let me kind of present it to you this way. I know you think the Lakers are kind of like the favorite, but do you see them as what I'm really asking is, do you see them as a cut above the Sixers, the Clippers, and the Jazz?
How to begin this one?
Oh, baby.
Let's start with the Jazz. The Jazz will come back down to earth. I'm not buying Jazz stock. I don't believe in the Jazz in a 7-game series. The Jazz are typically – Dan Quinn, though a great coach, does not have great playoff strategy. I think the Lakers are still I think they're still the easy favorite. I wouldn't say a cut above as presently constituted. I don't believe in the Clippers because they don't have a point guard. I don't believe in the Nets because they don't play B. I don't believe in the Sixers because they're Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers has traditionally not been a great coach, though he is back in the East and maybe he will recapture some of the magic. I think Brooklyn depends on matchups to get to the Eastern Conference Finals in the finals. I think Bud will this will be Bud's last year. And
yeah, Bud will do something funny. Sorry.
He's not going to do anything, but the funniest thing he's going to do is play Giannis 33 minutes in an elimination game.
But that would be funny, though, is what I'm saying.
I just think I think the Lakers are doing the right thing by sitting Anthony Davis now. I think they still, in the first round, still prevent a matchup nightmare without Davis in a 7-game series. And then going forward, you have a healthy Davis who hopefully will not rupture his Achilles. And I just think they're just built to repeats, and I wouldn't bet against LeBron in a 7-game series. They may lose game 1 in all 3 of the series to end up in the finals again. I don't think Brooklyn has the defensive depth. If they meet, I like Philly better in the long run because Tobias Harris is grossly underrated right now. He's playing super well, and I think Embiid is a matchup nightmare. And I don't think Durant is going to hold on. I mean, people are just going to go at him. If they meet Miami in the first round, I pick Miami in a 7-game series.
Ooh, I hope they do.
Yeah, I think Miami is ready for them. I think the Raptors they need a piece to get, it'd be a more interesting matchup. I think Boston's not afraid of them. I think if the Raptors don't meet Brooklyn, we have a nice path, but I don't have those reservations with the Lakers. I think the Lakers have they have LeBron, they have good matchups, and as long as Anthony Davis is in there for the Western Conference Finals, they'll be fine. I think every round before, the first round's fine, the second round's a squeaker, the third round you need them, and I think right now they're resting him, and they know that too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I do want to move on to Quickish Questions, but McCready, I don't know if you want to add anything before.
Oh, no.
I feel like there's I'm still in that place where
I think everything he said made kind of sense.
Me too.
I don't think there was anything too egregious there. I think we can all agree that almost anything can happen in the playoffs this year, and we wouldn't be super shocked. I think there's a top 4 in the East that are kind of obvious in terms of teams that are dangerous, and I think it's No particular order. Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Miami. Like, I think those are like the kind of clear top 4 to me.
Can I say I'm still? I had Miami in 7th in the East, and I think I'm still there. Like, I don't think they're better than Boston, Indiana, or Toronto. I think maybe I'm just too low on Miami.
I just think they're a matchup nightmare for any team. Like, they're not playing well right now, but you don't want to see them in a 7-game series. Like, if Miami and Brooklyn meet in the first round, I'm betting on Miami. Like,
I would just love that so
I would love it. I would think Bam will show up. I think Jimmy Buckets would show up. I think they would just look at it, and I think they would take it personally that the betting line was against them. And they're just a team that if Brooklyn sees they see them, they're just going to be very upset. And I think the other note is everyone is so used, because Golden State got everyone really used to an overwhelming favorite, that we forgot that there are favorites that are not overwhelming. They are just solid.
Yes.
We're so used to being like Golden State, of course.
Yes, I think that's what I was trying to say.
It's just we saw that for like 5 years, and we're just like, oh, okay, that's obviously they're like a cut above. But like now we just have solid favorites who can lose, but they're solid favorites for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, I think the playoffs are going to be pretty entertaining. And one thing we didn't really talk about when it came to COVID earlier is that the fact that I think every player will be vaccinated by the time the playoffs come along as well. So at least we won't have to worry about, people missing rounds at a time.
That's a really good point, and hopefully an optimistic one. Fastest vaccine in history, so that's pretty cool. But let's do some quickish questions and finish this on a light, silly, quickish questions note. I don't know what the hell I was like building up towards, but Matty D, good sir, please give me your most delicious quickish questions. Sting.
Take it quick. Take your time and take it quick.
Okay, who is like what is that Cool Borders voiceover? What was that? Who's that rad dude piping in on the quickish questions, Sting, Matt?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to McCready?
Oh, wait a second. Was that McCready?
Yeah, that was just me improvising, I'm desperate.
Okay. Consider me easily entertained then, because I sure thought it was Matty D. And I was like pretty pumped. I thought it was like well done too. Okay, sorry everybody. Sorry that I.
Compliment. I'm a natural Sting. That's amazing.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I'll take my apology back. I should be very comfortable being thoroughly entertained by poignant, amazing improv. But let's get popping on quickish questions here. You guys know how this works. I'm going to read these questions as quick as I can. I'm going to stutter and slur and stroke, hopefully not. But I might misread a comma. It's going to be, Matty D's cueing me. No phoning a friend, okay? Yeah. I was going to phone. Put it down. Put it away. You can't basically take your time with the answer. You just got to hit me with it and understand that's how it works. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Matty D, hit it. Let's go McCready, Yaw, Matt. Okay, McCready.
Mm-hmm.
Steady Freddy or Franchise Fred?
Steady Freddy. I think there's too many franchise players for the Raptors right now, and I think Steady Freddy rhymes and is fun to say.
Okay, agreed. Yaw.
Word.
Has the NBA undone all their good work in terms of COVID awareness and standards by how they have operated this season?
I wouldn't say they've completely outdone. I think they've just disappointed because the bubble was such a success. So they've shown they can do things in a more safe way, and they're kind of like linking the player. They're trying to make as many people as happy as possible, which you really can't do when you're fighting the pandemic.
Matty D,
Yes, sir.
what are you going to miss most about All-Star Weekend? We know you love All-Stars.
What am I going to miss most? Just these guys are battling all year. They hate each other, but then they come to the All-Star game and they crack a couple beers and have a laugh, talk about how fun life is. And I'm going to miss seeing those smiles.
Yeah, I'm going to miss seeing Embiid and LeBron chugging a beer together. McCready,
Yeah.
Can Harden win MVP this year?
No.
Yeah. Who is
There's two other guys on his team that could possibly win it as well. And
Hey,
it's
man.
like there's other better candidates.
It's the exact right answer. So
I asked the questions.
he answered Quickish.
Give me a better one next time. No, I'm just kidding.
Who is first pick for the All-Star game? Yeah.
Oh, and LeBron's picking first. It's Giannis.
Ooh. Matty D.
Yes.
With Rozier, Hayward, and Kyrie, and I guess Al Horford having great seasons, how do you view the Celtics now?
I'm very happy that they're 500. I'll tell you that.
Me too.
Thought they would be a lot better. I'm surprised, actually. Very surprised with the Boston Celtics, but very happy with, them kind of, tied with us right now? Love it.
Yep.
Yeah, quite
Freaking love it.
surprised. I thought they might be like
Half the game behind New York.
I thought they'd be like second
New
at
York.
worst.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
New York was in my top 4, but I forgot them.
McCready,
Yeah.
what era of NBA style on and off court speaks most to you?
Oh, yeah, I'd probably go with like late 90s, early 2000s. I remember Slam Magazine had the top 10 outfits that got the NBA to institute a dress code. And number one, and it's not like anything I approve of or anything, but number one on that list was Jason Williams showing up in overalls and a t-shirt that said, instead of Home Depot, the Ho Depot. Came to the game, man. And so I have to say, ridiculous, slightly misogynistic tees from the early 2000s.
Oh my God, big shirts, and that was a good time.
Perfect answer.
If you want to see the era, just watch that Vince Carter dunk off. You kind of see what they're all wearing. It's good stuff. Yaw, give Freddie me an NBA 2K rating.
So you're enthusiastic. You have pretty good endurance.
Okay.
I think you have some ball skills, and I'm going to give you a little higher defensive awareness than most people would.
Oh wow.
I will give you a solid 72.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I definitely, if you're gonna really put me into 2K, it's got to be like 29. It's got to be some weird glitch where like I take a charge and get like taken off on a stretcher. Like that's what it would be like. But yeah,
very kind.
this is like a fun bonus question because I can't ask Matty D the follow up, and the follow up is now give Matty D a 2K ranking.
Oh, wow.
Matty is always in the right place at the right time. He's always supportive of said teammates. I would also give him a 73.
Wow. Because the sound.
Better than Freddie.
Because of the sounds.
Intangibles.
Intangibles, fair. Okay, Matty D.
Yes.
LaMelo has seemingly inherited the nickname Mello and the 3 to the head thing. When he hits the 3 celebration, LaMelo has inherited this from Carmelo Anthony.
Right.
What would a younger player inherit from your game? And bonus points if you can make a nickname for what that would be as well.
Well, I feel like I'd be the guy that I don't know what I could do on the court, okay, but I would make sure that everyone's hydrated, and my nickname would be like
Super Mario Sunshine.
Yep, that's. I mean, sorry, Matty D. Do you have a better nickname than that?
I was gonna just say maybe like H2. Whoa!
Oh, that's good too.
Super Mario Sunshine, man. Sorry, bro.
I'm always
way
way
better.
better under
But it
electrolytes.
was.
And just a little add-in from Brian Kimmel about friend of the pod and amazing DJ Brian. Sorry, I'm just I blanked out that for a sec because I had to find it again. But he was just saying Matty D's 2K ranking is a Galaxy Opal, which sounds amazing, and it sounds like a big compliment to Matty D.
Wow.
I was blanking out because
What is that? Like a Pokemon reference? What is a Galaxy Opal?
it's something. It's an Opal. It's cool. But I was gonna say about Brian, your boy Brian is his DJ name, so make sure to check him out. But McCready,
Yes.
Will Jordan Clarkson,
Mhm.
my long lost cousin. This is from friend of the pod, Dexter Areola. Be the next Jamal Crawford / Lou Will.
Oh,
So yeah,
I think he's kind of already there. He's having a really great season.
he really is.
I don't think he's as flashy as Crawford. I think Crawford's kind of style was one of a kind almost. I think his handle was just so ridiculous, and I think and I don't think he draws fouls as much. So he's his own player, but I definitely think in terms of like six man who comes in and heats it up, yeah, he's out there. He's a really good bench player.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Should the Raptors use their extra cap space to fund the cloning of actual Velociraptors?
Absolutely.
For folks who are checking out, Shrine just kicked in.
Mhm.
Matty D, which Raptor has a future in comedy?
Raptor Bembry.
Okay, Bembry. McCready,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Sergio Scariolo taking over the head coaching role?
I'm surprised he gave it up. Surprised he's
Fair.
not just taking control of the team and just locking Nurse out and being in charge indefinitely. But good for him for standing down.
Yeah, thanks for standing down, pal.
Once you get that Infinity Gauntlet, man, just keep it on your hand. But, give it back, I guess. Good for him.
Yeah, sometimes Thanos is just like, here you go.
That's what Thanos is like.
Yaw, how many All-Star appearances do you think Freddie Van Vliet will have in his career?
4 or 5.
Whoa. Wow.
Whoa.
I think here's the thing. I think
I
he
say woke,
deserved an
I agree.
All-Star. I think he deserved an All-Star this year. As I said, I don't believe Boston deserved 2. I think you just need winning years, and he's the winning engine behind it. Plus, Canada's going to show up for him next year. So I can see it. I mean, we got DeMar starting in like 5 in a row, I think, or something like that. And we got Kyle in 3. So just based on fan votes and his lovableness with the city, I could see him getting 4.
Oh yeah. Okay, last question, then we're going to do an all play. Matty D, do you think the Raps would benefit from the time off of their last 2 games if their last 2 games are canceled before the break? Or is it kind of like snapping momentum like a bad idea?
Oh, well, I mean, there's going to be an all-star break anyway. I don't know if the 2 games are going to make much more of a difference. I do think that these postponements they definitely affect teams, if you have to take a few games off. So I don't think it will, because the Raps are champs and they got a lot of championship players on that team, and they'll when it resumes, they'll be ready to go.
I love it. Okay. Last question I'll play. This is going to be a fun one. We'll start with you, McCready.
Yeah.
What's your fondest memory of former Raptor Tyler Hansbrough, and where does he rank in the greatest Raptor of all time list?
Oh, wow. Let me answer the second part first. Nearly last.
Look him up.
I mean, the best part about watching Hansbrough, it's almost like watching a episode of Jackass. You have this like wide-eyed monster going out on the court and just doing. Remember when he carried a guy backwards on his back for like 7 steps and then fell over? A total gong show of a player. Terrible. Casey played him way too much at center sometimes, even though he can't do anything defensively. Awful. Hate Hansbrough. I hate him.
He started in a playoff game for us. Yaw, what's your favorite Hansbrough memory, and where does he rank all time?
The fondest memory I would have is him flexing in his North Carolina jersey. I don't have fond memories of him on the Raptors.
Very fair.
Where would I rank him? I would probably rank him just below Oliver Miller.
Way below Oliver Miller. I love Miller.
Yeah, no love for the Big O. That's okay.
I didn't know love for the Big O either.
Matty D.
Yeah.
Have you
just
been
looking him up.
Have you been able to research? Should I throw my answer in?
Well, okay. So we started the podcast in 2014. That was his last season with the Raptors. He played 2 seasons. He played 74
you probably focused
games.
on Hayes way more than him.
Yeah, that definitely is who caught my attention in that year. I don't remember him at all from that season, at all. So, sometimes the best memory is the one that doesn't exist.
Yep. Okay, I'll throw in my...
Eternal sunshine of the spotless hands, bro.
Okay, that maybe if we titled our episodes, that I for sure like this episode will be called. Can you say that one more time, McCready?
Eternal sunshine of the spotless hands, bro. Pretty much anything Matty D says, I work in sunshine. And
Little Matty Sunshine, the best indie flick of the year. Mine is he played with his little brother, in a game, and for whatever reason, his little brother was like 8 inches smaller and a point guard. And someone was like gonna fight his little brother, and he fully snapped and was like gonna like choke the guy, and it was just really quite a scene. And anyways, that's my fondest memory.
Where was this? This was
in the NBA.
NBA?
I think it was as a Pacer.
Okay.
I forget what his brother's name is, but yeah, he was like a point guard and was very much like a 10-day contract type guy.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, he was ready to defend his little brother, and that was very exciting at the time. But we've made it to the end of the pod. Thank you both so much for doing it. Thanks for everyone listening, sharing, following, supporting, all that good stuff. Let's go to you first. Yaw, what's up? Where can people, check you out, follow you? What do you want them to know?
I'm going to point on it. Yaw Experience on Instagram and Twitter. You can go to my website, yawexperience.com. YAW Experience. What's going on? Nothing. I'm chilling. I'm chilling for now. I'm working on something. I used to host a podcast, and it stopped. Maybe this is going to be my butt kick to do it, so people listen to be like, "Where's that podcast?" And we might just record like a 5 or 10 episode reunion. So we're just talking about it now. It's a movie podcast. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm into it. If you're listening, please follow Yaw and message him directly, and like he'd just be like, "Where's this podcast at? I'm really excited." Like. You said you need a kick in the butt. You don't even know me, but I'm ready to do that.
I'm ready for it. Come at it.
McCready, what's up? What do you want people to know?
Go ahead. I started a podcast every single day. I'm running down from tallest to shortest people on Earth, and we are 33,000 episodes in now. So
wow.
We're still in the 7s, but we're hoping to get down into the 6s soon.
So you've passed George Mirasan.
Mirasan was passed a while ago. He's still alive. He actually shrunk a couple inches since his heyday in the NBA. He's actually only about 7'4" now. If you're interested in knowing heights of people, each episode is about 10-11 seconds long. It's a passion project, and we've had a lot of time in the pandemic, so I've just been really focusing in on that.
Hell yeah. That I want to like riff on that, but that's such an insane concept that I'm just like, let it be. Let it just breathe. Think about that and enjoy. Yow's cough laughing. We're in a good place here.
It kills me because every like I was just saying the other day, and I'm guilty of it too because I'm like, maybe I'm going to do a podcast. It's like every comic has to have a podcast, and you're just like, it's just the perfect answer.
It is the perfect answer.
It's just fantastic.
You're fantastic, Yow. McCready, you're fantastic. Maddie D, you're fantastic. Our Raptors are fantastic, and hopefully we'll be healthy soon. We'll learn more. But yeah, that's it for the pod. So thanks everyone again. And Maddie, if you feel like we're good to go, please, sir, just give me the okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.